Miami-Dade versus manatees is how you might describe a decision this week when county commissioners, by unanimous vote, gave boat show organizers the go-ahead to run sea trials during the event through critical nesting and feeding areas in Biscayne Bay.
And that happened despite a recommendation to turn down that request by the county's own Department of Environmental Resources Management, known better by its acronym DERM. Lee Hefty is the director of Miami-Dade County DERM, and Lee is joining us this morning. Lee, good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your recommendation, in fact, that it was going to put the manatee population in Biscayne Bay at risk by having these floating docks there by the old Miami Herald site on the bay and just north of the Venetian Causeway. Why is this risky?
So the concern with the manatee population is obviously we share this natural area with manatees, and they need to be able to rest, feed, rear their young. And there's certain parts of the bay that are more utilized by manatees than others. And there's been a boat show in this location in the past, but they've not been allowed to run sea trials because sea trials are a very intensive use, much more activity than just simply bringing a boat in and parking it for 5 days and then retrieving it. And this particular year, they asked to increase the size of the boat show. They were given approval for a boat show with 634 slips about 2 years ago. Now they're increasing it to almost 1,000 slips, and they wanted to add sea trials. And that's just too much activity in an area where manatees need to be able to look for food, rear their young, and we think it was just too risky for that.
So Lee, this is obviously, it's a boat show is what we're talking about, a Miami-Dade decision. You know, we have viewers from Boca to Key West watching this, and really what this topic is about a governmental decision against the environment. And we appreciate and respect that you are a county employee who answers to the commissioners whose vote you are now criticizing. I guess that's my words, not yours yet. But what do you make of them voting totally against what you and your colleagues recommended?
So actually, I think the outcome was somewhat of a compromise because what the applicant asked for was to modify their permit, which is good for another 7 years. And what our commission did was allowed them to do sea trials for just next year. And I think we heard pretty clear from the commission, they were put in a very difficult position. We had advised the applicant at the beginning of this year that it was not recommended to put sea trials there. The applicant continued to move ahead with their application, was not willing to make changes to it. And unfortunately, this late in the game, the commission was put in a very difficult position to have to make a decision. Obviously, we all recognize the economics of a boat show. And quite frankly, it shouldn't be mutually exclusive. The reason people enjoy boats is because Biscayne Bay is so beautiful. And part of that beauty are natural things like manatees. So I actually put it sort of in the win column that the board recognized that there was a concern. There needs to be a balance. And every day I have to make decisions that balances the public good with environmental protection. That's the challenge that we have with nearly 3 million people living in this spectacular place.
Yeah, well, it is spectacular, and we want to keep it that way. I just should point out as a non-boat owner that a sea trial is a kind of a test drive. People who are prospective buyers want to get in these boats, go out on the water. I would say that, if it is the boat seller that is showing the boat, I mean, these are professional licensed people. They're not going to be speeding out of these slips for the sea trials. I mean, they're going to be as careful as they can be. That's sort of the best case scenario for sea trials, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a valid point. I think, we talked about this in front of the commission. Probably the worst thing you can do to a manatee is to strike them with the vessel.
Right.
But what people don't understand is there are sublethal impacts to the population, including just it being very busy. And so if you're a mother and a calf that's trying to find food, and I mentioned this to the board, it's difficult because we have such of a loss of seagrasses in Biscayne Bay and other parts of the state. Manatees are actually starving to death all over the state right now because they're not finding food. So everything that happens on the water that causes you to either be scared away or makes you stay in one area and not look for food, even if it's just vessel traffic not running you over, those are things that are potentially injurious to the species.
And you told that to the county commission, and I want to read right out of the agenda memo, which we pulled, that this site is identified as a manatee in the Manatee Protection Plan. So the county has a plan to protect manatees, and this site was identified in that plan as an essential habitat, those are the words, essential habitat, okay for residential docking, because the boats don't go anywhere, but essential for feeding and nesting and manatee mating and for travel back and forth. There should be no disruption or activity there. So when the county commission heard this, and even before that, when the vendor heard this, and to your point, they have a business that they need to do, what is the compromise? Where is that compromise?
So historically, there have been various aspects of the boat show in different locations throughout the county. And there have been originally a boat show over on Miami Beach, and then years ago it moved into the area of the Marine Stadium. Then separately, at the same time, there's been a boat show at this particular location. And when this location got approved for increasing the size of the show a few years ago, it was predicated on the condition that they not have sea trials, because there's a difference between bringing the boats in once and leaving once for the construction of the show versus the in and out travel associated with doing sea trials. And so, you know, there are places in the county where manatees are not occupying, they're not using those areas for those kinds of habitat, the activities.
If I can, Lee, I'm sorry to interrupt, but you know, over there by the Marine Stadium, I mean, there are manatees over in that area as well, are there not?
There are certainly manatees in a lot of places throughout the bay, but what we found in studies in the past is in certain places they weren't spending as much time. Obviously, over north of the Marine Stadium, it's a critical wildlife area, not specifically for manatees, but there's a habitat area that's protected. There's a no entry zone, so no boats should be going in there on the northern part of Virginia Key. But with the area by Marine Stadium, there was an opportunity for them to traverse going south of the Rickenbacker Causeway and do some sea trials in places where it was more open and less dense of an area where manatees and boats would be overlapping their travel.
Lee, we should point out, Glenna and I and our producer have a statement from the boat show in which they say that they are mindful of the impacts of the show. They have something called a manatee protection plan they developed for the show, and they don't want to harm the manatee. Of course, that's what they would say, but you know, they're going to have sea trials, so it's kind of self-contradictory, I think. Can you comment on that?
Sure. I think, you know, with any activity like this, and especially now with the direction from the board to move forward, we're going to have conditions in the permit to have them monitor their sea trials, the size of the vessels, the number of trips they make. And obviously the sea trials are going to be piloted by the representatives of the boat show. They're not going to let the general public drive the boats around. There are speed zone restrictions in there, so I'm sure they'll follow all of those regulations. I think the concern that we have in the long run is this particular area is not appropriate for years and years of the same kind of activity going forward. So I think, you know, what happened was our board got put in a tough position. This late in the game, this close to the show, the applicant insisted that we take their application to the board. And in many cases, I make decisions administratively because of the size of the show. I need to go to the board. And I think, you know, we'll monitor their activities. And I hope that what we'll do is look for places to have sea trials in other parts of the county for the future shows.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because it sounds like this, you know, I'll just go on record watching this discussion that at the commission level, that absolutely the Miami International Boat Show is huge business for South Florida. It is a tourism drawer. It is a great annual event in many ways. And I don't want anyone to think that we're taking sides anywhere. And it's just about this decision that was so curious that we had invited you on this program. But one of the questions was in this new area, and we had an aerial before that we put up. I'm not sure you can see it, but it's the area for people who know downtown Miami, right behind the old Omni, just north of the Venetian Causeway. Michael had mentioned earlier in the little yellow box. So it is kind of residential, a lot of high rises there. This actual land underneath the water, they call it the submerged lands, is part of that state-owned land, and if it is, does the state have to sign off on this decision before those sea trials can take place?
Yes, in fact, that's true. Most people never think about land ownership under the water, but the submerged lands are owned by someone, and in most cases, they're owned by the state of Florida. In some cases, they're owned by municipalities, sometimes owned by individuals. In this particular area, some of the land is owned by the city of Miami, and some of it is owned by the state of Florida. And they will need permission from the state. They'll actually need a permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers also before they can actually build the boat show.
So this isn't a done deal yet? Is that true?
It's correct. It's not a done deal yet. I suspect, the county, we're here, we're present. We probably are paying a very close attention to what happens in our backyard. I think the other agencies may probably follow suit and give the permits. Not sure, but it's not uncommon for them to issue permits for things like this.
Yeah, Lee, let me sort of broaden the perspective here a little bit. Here you are in charge of protecting the environment, for Miami-Dade County government and the, 2.5 million people who live here in the county. I have to say this is just part of an eternal conundrum for those of us who live in Florida, is to protect the things that we love that make this place special, and then you are sometimes in conflict with the economic forces that drive our area and allow us to live and work here.
That's a fantastic observation. I think the challenge that we have as a community is understanding the responsibility we have. The thing that brought us all to live here. We live in an amazing place on this planet, and there's a reason we live here. It is because it's so beautiful. So along with that comes the responsibility to protect the resources so that our children and their children can enjoy the same beauty that we've been able to enjoy. So there's all kinds of things that we can do as citizens, like following rules of the road when you're boating and looking for manatees. And even on the land, we find that what's happening in Biscayne Bay is very much related to what we do on the land in terms of the way we use fertilizers or pumping out our septic tanks or minimizing, tell your landscaper not to blow the grass clippings in the street because all those go into the storm drain and they pollute the bay. So there's a lot of things that we can do to show our individual stewardship for this community.
And if I could toot our own horn, our good friend and colleague Louis Aguirre with "Don't Trash Our Treasure," that is his message, and God bless him for doing it. I mean, that is our leader, our guide on this here.
Guru?
Absolutely.
All right, so one more question to cap this conversation. You mentioned earlier, Lee, that there would be a plan and watching what happens. After that, what happens? Is this a written assessment that you're planning? What comes next for the manatee?
Yes. So when, at this point, the board has made its decision. My agency is still the agency responsible for issuing a permit and doing all the environmental evaluations and monitoring of what goes on. And as part of that, there'll be a report back to the board on the sea trial activity and also whether anything specific was noticed in terms of impacts to manatees. Now, I will say that I hope we don't have any impacts to manatees, but that doesn't say that the activity won't result in some non-lethal impact, like causing them to be scared away and not find food. But we'll certainly be looking for any kind of direct impacts to manatees.
Lee Hefty, great to have you on the program today and appreciate your time. Thanks so much.